نعم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. Tonight, on the 6th of Dhul Qadah 1441, we are resuming our book Al-Adab Al-Mufrid, a code for everyday living, the example of the early Muslims by Imam Bukhari. Tonight's chapter is chapter 391, the title of which is A Man Describing Something by Saying, It is Nothing, meaning that it is not true.
Continue, please.
Okay. Tonight's hadith is hadith number 882. Urwa bin Az-Zubayr said, Aisha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said,
What did you say again? Aisha or Aisha?
Aisha.
That's the one. Yes.
Okay. Aisha, the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, people asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam about kahins, soothsayers. He told them, they, the soothsayers, are nothing. They said, Messenger of Allah, they speak of things that sometimes turn out true. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam responded, the morsel of truth is a word that shaitan steals and then mumbles into the ear of his protege with a sound like the clucking of a chicken. They mix more than 100 lies with it.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. The chapter title that a person saying it is nothing, and he meant, it is not upon the haqq, it is not true. And he mentions the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is being narrated by Aisha, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, that some people asked the Messenger of Allah ﷺ about the kuhan. The kuhan, a word from the word kahana. And the people in the Arabs, they used to have specific kuhan. For example, a person called Shaq, and then Satih, and others. Some of them used to claim that he has a jinn that would follow him, and this jinn would tell him about what is happening, the news. And some of them, they would say that basically he would know the matters according to some question that he would ask. For example, he would ask some questions, and then from those questions he would start to know about this person's status, something which is to do with his personality, something to do that no one can know except for himself. And those are called al-arraf. So there is kahin, who predicts in the future. Arraf is the one who maybe tells them who had stole the money and all of this. And the hadith here says, man ata kahinan. And this kahin, it meant as well, includes the arraf, al-munajjim. Munajjim is the one who goes from the stars, and he would predict things. So it includes all of those soothsayers, sorcerers, fortune tellers, all of these things, crystal ball, palm readers, all of them called kuhan. Okay. So when these people came to ask the Prophet ﷺ about those people, because they see, it seems for them that these people, they say things normally the normal person would not know about them, except they've got some certain powers. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Laysu bishay." They're nothing. And this is where the chapter came from. Nothing, that means they are not upon the haqq. Laysu bishay. Laysu ala al-haqq. This is not what the haqq is. And this is where the chapter title comes from. So that's when now they've asked the Prophet of Allah more details. And this is allowed. So if you want to ask, maybe you didn't understand what your scholar or your teacher had said. So he said to him, said to the Messenger of Allah, but they tell us about things. They are really, they say things, and these things are true. So this is a dialogue is taking place between the student and the teacher. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, yes, well, that true thing that you're talking about, I agree upon it, but let me explain what it is. So what is the true thing here? And let me just enlarge my screen here so I could see myself. It's better. No, Jazakumullah khair. So basically, so what is the true thing here? What is it that the true thing about it? So the Prophet ﷺ, he said that this is the correct and rightful word, and word which is of true, that the shaitan snatches this. The shaitan snatches this, and I will explain to you how. And then he will take it and he will put it into the ears of this person who's communicating with him, which is the soothsayer, the fortune teller, the sorcerer, the palm reader, the crystal ball reader. Like the chicken. In Arabic, he crackles it inside his ear. So that means secretly, nobody can hear it except for him, and that, so they were talking, to communicating. They will, give it to him. Nobody can listen except for him. He will come and whisper it into him. And this is the word qarqara, the chicken. Okay. And then he says, that فَيَخْلِطُونَ فِيهَا أَكْثَرْ مِنْ مِئَةٍ كَذِبًا. They would add to it more than 100 lies. Which one adds more than 100 lies? Some of the scholars said it is the soothsayer who will add to this fact 100 lies. Some they said, no, it is actually the shaitan, the jinn. He will add to what he had heard 100 lies to the sorcerer. Some they said both of them. Now, if I investigate here, we have a hadith in Silsila Sahih of the Shaykh Al-Albani, in which it indicates actually the one who lies is the one who is the soothsayer. And maybe this is a powerful argument. The reason behind this, because if this shaitan is going to give him lots of lies and one of them is a good fact, then this sorcerer will not trust his, the one who brings him the facts. He will not trust the jinn. You told me so many things and only one fact which is correct. So it must be that the jinn gives him the rightful thing, so he's really loyal to him, and he will not going to be loyal to the soothsayer until the soothsayer had done some sort of kufr or challenging kufr that is being accepted by these shayateen, by these jinns, that for him to communicate with them. Once he had done his part of disbelief, disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will give them that the snatched from the haqq, from the truth. And the hadith here, which is also that Imam al-Bukhari had brought in his Sahih, the hadith that the malaika in the heavens, they will mention the command of Allah Azza wa Jal, and the shayateen will listen. They will sit and listen and snatch from that what they have heard, and then they will give it to the Kuhan, to the soothsayer, and then these ones, he says, فَيَذْكُرُونَ مَعَهَا مِئَةُ كَذِبًا مِنْ عِنْدِهَا, and they will bring 100 lies from themselves. Here from themselves, I mean the soothsayers. And also, hadith of Sahih Muslim, which is more detailed, where Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, that a man from the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, so this is Abdullah ibn Abbas, a companion, because he was too young, taken from a companion who had heard from the Prophet ﷺ, and he's from the Ansar. And it doesn't matter that companion was not mentioned his name. It does not really harm the hadith authenticity. This is a Sahih Muslim. He said that while they were sitting together with the Prophet, a comet had passed, the shooting star, and it gave light. So the Prophet asked them, what did you used to say in Jahiliyyah before Islam when you see something like this? They said, Allah wa rasuluhu a'lam. Allah and His Messenger knows best. But we used to say that tonight a great man was born, or tonight a great man had died. One of the two. So the Prophet ﷺ, he wanted to clear this misconception. He said, verily, those things that don't take place for the death or the birth of someone, but Allah Azza wa Jal, subhanahu wa ta'ala, glorified His name. When He decrees a matter, then the angels who hold the throne, they will glorify Allah. And then the one who below them will glorify Allah Azza wa Jal. And this glorification will reach all the way down to the nearest heaven. Then the ones who are below the holders of the throne, they will ask the holders of the throne, ماذا قال ربكم? What did your Lord say? So the holders of the throne, they will inform them what their Lord had said. So the ones below the ones who had just asked, they will ask them the same thing. So this command of Allah will be starting now to be negotiated and being told from one layer of angels to the ones below them, until it reaches those who are in the dunya heaven, sama' dunya. And the jinn there, they sit in stations. They go on top of each other like this, okay, on top of each other, until they climb up the way to the first heaven. They don't go beyond the sama' dunya. And they will sit to steal, to snatch anything from the commands of Allah Azza wa Jalla that is being said. As soon as they take it, and there is a shooting star, a driving comet, a flame ball will come and kill them. This suicide, I call him, from the jinn, he will be dead regardless of what's going to take place, because he's up there. He will be killed. But he could manage to take, snatch, and give it to the one below him before he's being killed. So he will be killed, whether he's going to be taking it or not taking it. Even if he managed to take it, he will be killed after that. But he manages, if he take it to the one below him, it will go all the way down until it reaches the first one, and he will give it to the one on the ground. Now, you don't have to put your minds into it, while the one on the ground is holding these people, those jinn on top of him. If they're going to leave it, all of them go down. I mean, we don't know how they climb on each other anyway. So they will take it to the soothsayer. That's how they steal it. At the time when the Prophet of Allah became a prophet and revelation came to him through the Quran, the heavens started to have more guarding. It's lots of guards, lots of guards. They were not able to snatch. Just for that time only. Before they could, and in after the revelation happened, still they can. But within that time, they couldn't. They will, no way. يَجِدْ لَهُ شِهَابًا رَصَدًا. As they said, the jinn himself, that we want to go there to listen, he will find a driving ball lying in ambush for him. Straight away, before he approaches, he will be killed. That was made for the sake of that the Quran will not be mixed with the words of the soothsayers. They will know about the ayat of the Quran. So they will not be able. And that's why they were sending some sort of a dispatch. What's happening here? Is it the day of resurrection taking place? They want to know. And then when they started sending some jinns to go and find out what happened, and they found some of them, they were listening to the Quran, and they came to tell their people that we've سمعنا قرآنا عجبا. The Quran, Surah Al-Jinn, we need to explain it. We need to have a class just for Surah Al-Jinn, inshallah. Coming back, so he said that those are the ones who take the news and give it to their people, and their people, or the jinns, or the kahin, the soothsayer, the fortune teller, and all of those I mentioned, they will add 100 lies to the people, and the people start saying, look, well, we could believe him, because remember when he said there's a flood in such an area where it can take place, and it took place. There must be all of those lies, which they're lies, all of the things that they said, it must be truthful. So the Prophet of Allah explained to the companions who had come to him, they are nothing. They're not upon haqq. He said, Messenger of Allah, but sometimes they bring something which is haqq, true. He said, well, that's the truth. They're taking it from the shaitan who stole it, from the jinn who stole it from above in the sama' dunya, and the Prophet of Allah explained that to them. Right, now we come into the finish of the hadith. The link of the chapters of the hadith is very obvious. So the following chapter 392. Fadal.
Chapter 392. Indirect allusion. Hadith 883. Anas bin Malik said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was on one of his journeys, and the camel driver was chanting. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Gently, Anjasha, be careful with the fragile creature," literally glass vessels, referring to the woman.
Right. Now this hadith, we know that we have discussed it in the hadith of number 264. I'm going to discuss it again, inshallah. And it's going to come to us as well in the hadith 1264. So 264, that's in the first, a long time ago. And in the hadith is going to come as well later on, 1264. I just found out subhanAllah, the common number between 2264 and 1264 just now. So it's been mentioned there. And the hadith which is in the 1264 and the 264, they have got an addition there. The addition is that we had Al-Bara ibn Azib. He used those to chant for the men. And Anjasha, he used to the one to chant for the women. And in that narration as well, it said, وَكَانَ حَسَنَ الصَّوْتِ, and he was beautiful. He sings beautiful. Okay. Remember now, what is the chapter title, Ya Hassan, you said? Al-Ma'arid. What is it?
Indirect allusion.
I like the word, indirect allusion. That means in words which are ambiguous, it carries more than one meaning. It carries more than one meaning. So you think of something, but it's actually something else. Al-Ma'arid. The word al-hida in Arabic, what is the word hida came from? The word hida came from basically, if you look at the books of Asas al-Balagha, it says hada, that means from the dictionary, asl hida is the word dd, hida. And how did it come? Is that Arabi, a Bedouin man, had basically hit his slave so much, and then also he had bitten his fingers, and this slave started to walk out of pain, saying di means yadi means hand. So instead of the d, it's like hand, saying that part of the word because of the pain. Okay, and because of that word the camels loved the words of this slave saying it, and they started going quickly. Okay, so this is the word coming from hida. This is the word, the origin of the hida, because this word started to make the camel. So from that, they started now innovations onto it. That, oh yes, the camels, when you sing to them something, they start going faster. Now, Anas ibn Malik, he narrates this. The Prophet ﷺ, in one day that Anjasha, he was making hida to the camels, and on top of the camels there were women. The name of this person who was singing, Anjasha, this is Anjasha, by the way, he is emancipated slave. Emancipated slave to the Prophet ﷺ, and he was from Abyssinia, and his kunya was Abu Mariya. His kunya was Abu Mariya. That's his kunya. So when he started singing, the camel started moving quickly. Now the camels, they're hard, on top of them, the women, and the women, they are in like a little sort of, I don't know, tent on top of it. Hawdaj, we call it in Arabic. Hawdaj, little tent. So they are inside it. So the camels start going from one side to another. It goes like this, subhanAllah, like that. Or like this as well. So you find that this camel is just like being excited. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Anjasha, O Anjasha, Rifqan wayhaka bil qawari. Another narration, Rifqan bil qawari. Another narration, Ruwaydaka sawqan bil qawarir. Okay? That is, take it easy with the qawarir. This is the ma'arid here. This is the ambiguous word that carries more than one. Al-qawarir. Qawarir means vessels. And the Prophet, he meant what? Women. Because the women is on top. So he meant the vessels, but he meant the women, but he said the vessels. Because the vessels are, qawarir got two meanings. Qawarir from qawarir, that they are sitting in the house all the time. They don't really go. Very little. Well, not these days. Okay, qawarir, that's the word. Or qawarir means vessels because they are easily can be broken or can be easily affected. And this is very important to understand. Can be easily broken or can be easily affected. That's why the scholars had differed here regarding the Prophet ﷺ telling Anjasha to take it easy. Is it because of the physical effect onto the women? Okay, that is why effect onto the women when the camels start, sort of speeding up and being excited. Is it the physical effect or is it the spiritual effect? Meaning the women, they're very easy to scratch, very easy to be falling into the fitna of this beautiful voice, because their heart is softer than the men's. Okay, the men, even if you do the singing for them, doesn't really affect them as much as the women. The women, they could really have their tears in their eyes and would be affected. That's why any word from the man would sort of bait them straight away. They, that's why they carry on with them. So that's why the Prophet of Allah, he said rifqan. And some of the scholars, they said, like Imam al-Qurtubi, both. And we inclined to choose the both. That means the physical and the spiritual. Both of them they are basically dangerous on the female. So because of their weakness, they are weak. They're not like men. Because of that, we say that Prophet ﷺ, he had told Anjasha to take it easy on the women. And by the way, it shows the mercy of the Prophet ﷺ. Rifqan bil qawarir. They are the women. They're very easy to be captured by those phrases and those words and be affected as well. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. طيب. So now al-ma'arid, this is the one that which is words carrying more than one meaning. Now we have more of this ahadith which is plain as well. What is the rule of making ma'arid? Fadal. 884.
Hadith 884. Umar said, a man is reckoned to be lying when he transmits all that he hears. Abu Uthman said that he thought that Umar said, are not indirect allusions enough to keep a Muslim from lying? Next one.
No, it says 884.
No.
So if you've damaged, you could miss. Because in the hadith, I've got it separate here. Read it again, please.
Okay. 884. Umar said, a man is reckoned to be lying when he transmits all that he hears. Then it says, Abu Uthman said that he thought that Umar said, are not indirect allusions enough to keep a Muslim from lying?
Right. So it's actually about what he's talking about is lumped in one hadith. Yes. All right. Basically, here, Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, it's both of them in Umar. حسب امرئ من الكذب. It is enough for the person to prove himself as a liar to say everything that he hears. Of course. Because when you say everything that you hear, you're going to carry things which are truthful and carry things which are what? Not truthful. So if this person, everything that he hears from this ear is going to straight away to the tongue, or this ear to the tongue straight away, without checking, without going to the mind, is it correct or not, without verification, definitely you're going to say things which are not correct. Definitely you're going to add lies. And that is why we say, if you have said everything that you had heard, you have said things which are lies. It's incorrect. You cannot. And the scholar will be known as a scholar if he holds of saying things that he refrains from saying some of what he had heard. If you keep saying everything that you have heard, definitely you're not a scholar. Not to say that maybe you are a liar as well. And by the way, the word here, kadhib, lie, it doesn't mean just lie as intentionally. If once you say something which is not to be synchronizing with the truth, it's called lies, even though you did not intentionally make lies. Like Abu Sanabil, when he had said to the Sabi'iyya, the woman who had her husband died just before she delivered her baby. The following day, she had put her, basically a dress, and she's not basically doing the mourning onto her husband. And when he saw her, Abu Sanabil ibn Ba'kak is his name, he said, what are you doing? She said, well, I'm finished because I've delivered the baby. Her husband only died yesterday. He said, no, you have to stay in status of mourning until the longer of the two periods. And here the waiting periods for the woman who had her husband died is 4 months and 10 days, except وَأُولَاتُ الْأَحْمَالِ, the ones who are pregnant, فَعِدَّتُهُنَّ أَنْ يَضَعْنَ حَمْلَهُنْ, that there is waiting period is up to when they deliver the baby. So she went to the Prophet ﷺ and complained, Messenger of Allah is telling me that it's to go to the longer of the two periods. That means if it's 4 months and 10 days longer than the pregnancy, you have to stay in waiting period for that. And if it's the pregnancy is more than the 4 months and 10 days, and I have to go for the pregnancy. He said, Kadhaba Abu Salab. Prophet Allah said, he kadhab. Kadhab means he's wrong. He did not intentionally lie, but he's wrong. Kadhaba. Kadhaba is a word means he lied. Lied, that means he said something wrong, which is different from the haqq, different from the truth. Then Umar, he said, أما في المعاريض ما يكفي المسلم من الكذب. Well, if you want to lie, then use معاريض يا أخي. معاريض here is ambiguous words. You're saying something, but you don't mean it. And you don't mean the meaning of what the people think. Now, but we have to understand, is that an open check for us to make this? So every person asks us something, then I want to lie, but let me just give it in a different way. So I'll give you an example. A person came to my house and he's asking me about my son. Is your son inside? And I don't need to say to him that my son is not inside. I could just say to him, yes, he's inside or not. And he's inside. But I say to him, no, he is not inside here. And I just pointed to my hand. He's not inside here. And the person thought he's not inside the house. But I didn't need to say that. I didn't need to hide the fact that my son is inside the house. So it is not allowed for you to take an open check for the ma'arid. So if the ma'arid is needed, okay, if it is needed, you are being pushed to it, then do it. That this person, he is, a'udhu billah, no good person. And he is associating himself with your son, and you don't want that association. You could do that because you are being pushed. So you can't say your son is not here, but you could say, my son is not here, or my son is not here, and you meant your pocket. And he understood your son is not, because you don't want him to socialize with this guy because he's a bad guy. It's no problem. But it is not really basically an open check for you to go and say whatever you like. That's not allowed. No. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Go to 885, which is equivalent to 857, by the way. Same hadith. Faddal.
857. Hadith 885. Mutarrif bin Abdullah bin Ash-Shakir said.
Is it Ash-Shakir or Shakhir?
Ash-Shakhir, sorry.
Shakhir, not Shakir.
Right. Said, I accompanied Imran bin Hussein to Basra. Every day he used to recite poetry to us, and he said, indirect allusions give ample scope for avoiding lying.
Right, so this is the poetry. Poetry uses sometimes, those ambiguous words which can have more than one meaning. And the poetry sometimes, get some words which will prevent the person from going into low words. Okay. So anyway, we have just said the interpretation of that hadith, that the ma'arid is not an open check for you. You use them when you are in need of. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. We go to the 393. So the link of the chapter to the hadith is very clear here. So, and by the way, 857, if you read it exactly word for word, like this hadith. Right. Chapter 393, please.
Okay, chapter 393, divulging a secret. Hadith 886. Amr bin al-As said, I am astonished at a man who flees from fate when he has to face it, and who sees the mote in his brother's eye and not the tree trunk in his own. He uncovers the rancor in his brother's heart and not the rancor in himself. I have never entrusted anyone with a secret of mine and then blamed him for divulging it. How could I blame him when I myself could not keep it a secret?
Allah. This is Amr ibn al-As radiyallahu anhu. Amr ibn al-As is the one who was having a son, Abdullah, who was ascetic, a person who was in worship. Amr ibn al-As is the one who had opened Egypt. Amr ibn al-As is a great companion, radiyallahu anhu warda, despite of what the Rafidah say about him. He said himself, Ajibtu, and this is, this is our principle we should learn. Hikam, wisdoms, parables. I said, I'm amazed from a man who flees from the qadr, and yet the qadr is going to be getting him. So this qadr is going to take place. The decree will take place. Why are you running away from you? This is your qadr. You're trying to fight. You're trying to, for example, hide from death. How this is death is going to get you? So why do you run away from the qadr? The qadr is going to get you. But it doesn't mean here you throw yourself from the cliff and you say the qadr is going to get me. No. But if you look at this hadith, that by Allah, your rizq, your provision is going to follow you wherever you go, just like death follows you. Subhanallah. That means your rizq is there. He's going to catch you, whether you like it or not. You're going to get it. Even you run away from it, it's going to get you. You're not supposed to get away from it, but you run away from it, but you're going to get you, regardless. And this reminds me of the story of the two brothers. One brother is saying to his brother, you need to go outside and work to get the rizq and everything. You can't sit down. His brother said, no. I make tawakkul upon Allah. I will sit here and my rizq will come to me, regardless. He said to him, no, you have to go and get your rizq. You have to work. No, I'm going to sit down here. and my rizq will come to you. You're going to die out of hunger. He said, no, I'm going to sit here. My rizq will come to me. So his brother went out. Still his heart, sympathizing about his brother because he knows his brother is an idiot. So when he was walking, a tree falls from the two apples, falls from the tree in front of him. So he takes one apple and he said, the other one, I have to give it to my brother. So he comes to his brother and he throws the apple into his hand. And he said to him, Ya akhi, didn't I tell you have to go out to get your rizq? Look, I got you the apple. He said, yeah, but who's eating the apple now? That means that my rizq came to me. So I sat down and my rizq came to me. The apple traveled through your hands onto me. Now, what he said, the brother is correct. The rizq is going to come to him. But he sinned because he's not going out to get the rizq. He got the rizq, even he's sitting in his house. But he has to go and move. He can't just sit down and get the rizq like this. But this is the meaning of Amr al-As, that how can you run away from your qadar and your qadar is going to get you? Then the second one. And you see the molt. I don't know if you understand the molt. The molt is the one in the eye. Is that correct? Yeah. Is that the one?
I don't know the exact word, but it seems like something small that's in the eye.
Yeah. Yeah, the molt is that little secretion that comes out, the yellow pus comes out, in the morning especially. That's the qadar. That's the molt. I was trying to find a word for it, a meaning of it. I couldn't find it, except for that word, the molt. Okay? If you look at the molt in the eye of your brother, but you forget about the trunk in your eye. So this qadar is like maybe a little piece of wood into your eye, yet there is a big log in your eyes. So before you start fixing other people's, before you start looking at people's defects, look at your own. Your own defects. What's happening to you? And that's a saying also from Isa alayhi salam. It's hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, Isa alayhi salam said these words. A person, he is forgetting about his own little thing in his eye. Sorry, the person the person he criticizes that little thing in the eye of his brother, yet he forgets about the big massive trunk or log in his eyes. Before you start throwing people's houses with stones, make sure that your house is not made of glass, because they will be broken. So make sure that before you start criticizing the people, talk about your defects, akhi. You cannot say to another person, stop smoking while you are holding the cigarette. You cannot tell a person, haram ya akhi, you are taking, riba from this thing. You can't just take money from the brother and ask him for riba. And yet your house is from riba. Your life is from the riba. Your money is in the back taking riba. How can you say that? Okay. So this is a parable being set for the person who sees the little defects in the people, yet he forgets about his big defects in himself. The last one he says, قال, and the one before the last, the third one, ويخرج الضغينة, that is al-dhighn, that is to take out the rancor or the grudge from the persons who's his brothers in Islam. You take the grudge away from him, and yet you forget about the grudge in yourself. This grudge, this malice, what do you want to call it, the rancor, all of those words, the same thing. So before you try to get and to treat your brother and purify him from this grudge, purify your own. Before you start speaking about other people, speak about yourself. Fix yourself, because this, first of all, will not make you to be what we call it like a double standard, taking double standards. Number one. Number two, that it will be more for the person to accept. He will not accept from you, nasiha, while you're not doing it yourself. You can't just say to the people, do this and do this. You're not doing it. Nobody, they're not going to accept it from you. Okay. So because of those two things, we say that first of all, fix yourself. Don't fix others before you fix yourself. Okay. If you can't do it, you fix yourself and you're trying your best, at least you're trying, that doesn't prevent you to fix others as well. Maybe there's a question, well, I can't fix myself, but I'm telling other people, well, make sure that you don't stop fixing yourself. And this is that basically
to focus upon of you purifying yourself. تزكية النفس. Then he says, وما وضعت سري عند أحد فلمته على إفشائه. And I never gave my secret to anybody, and then I blamed him for divulging it. That means for disclosing it. Okay, I did not really sort of blame him for that. How can I blame him when myself, I couldn't really hold it? I couldn't be patient to hold it. Because when the person started disclosing the secrets, that means he himself, he can't keep it between the two lips of his, into himself. He wants to disclose it to somebody else. So if he discloses it to somebody else, why do you blame that person to disclose it to somebody else as well? Once they come out of his two lips, then the secret is gone. The secret is gone. It's finished. It's gone somewhere else. So that is 3 things being said here. And this is to do with the chapter title, the last one, which is that disclose the secret, is that if you have given the secret to somebody and that person had disclosed it, blame no one except for yourself. Why did he disclose it? How can you blame him when you yourself, you couldn't hold it between yourself or inside your chest? Type. Now, this is, by the way, that an example of a parable being said by Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu wardah at his time. What do we say at our time? Allahu al-Musta'an. 395. By the way, 887 is unauthentic. And 888, which is in the following chapter, I think, it is unauthentic. Please begin 395 chapter with 889.
Inshallah. So just before that, Sheikh, I had a quick look at the definition for molt. And it says in here, a minute piece of anything dry or light, as straw, chaff, a splinter of wood that might enter the eye.
That's correct definition. This is the molten. How do you spell the molt? M-O-L-T?
M-O-T-E.
Oh, mote, yes, M-O-T-E. Correct. Mote, yes.
All right. Chapter 395. Deliberation in things. Hadeeth 889. Muhammad bin al-Hanafiya said, unwise is he who does not deal correctly with a person whose company he cannot avoid until Allah appoints for him a release or a way out.
Again, say the chapter title and the hadith, please.
Chapter 395, deliberation in things.
What does deliberation mean? This easy?
Deliberate.
Words maybe you don't understand them. I don't know. I don't understand them.
Think about it.
Yeah, deliberate was to
contemplate.
Yeah,
Take it easy, not to rush decisions. If it is this, yes. Other than that, no. Ta'uda. And by the way, this chapter title is being repeated in chapter 266 and chapter 267. Put that down, and it's the same repetition. And Imam al-Bukhari says how important this at-ta'uda. At-ta'uda means being a prudent, being sedate person who takes his decision calmly. So the person who is not flimsy, is not really immature. So immaturity is the actually opposite of this word. The mature person takes things with, like with the right decision, and he would not jump straight away to what he wants to do. He will not be impulsive. Okay, 889. Muhammad ibn Hanafiya, he says, which is Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib. Al-Hanafiya is his mother. Now.
What do you want to read it again? Sorry, I was looking at deliberation.
It's not a ways, yeah.
Okay.
The hadith itself, 889.
Yeah. So it says, Muhammad bin al-Hanafiya said, unwise is he who does not deal correctly with a person whose company he cannot avoid until Allah appoints for him a release or a way out.
Well, okay, right. Basically, we have lots of hadith regarding at-ta'uda, to be deliberated, I don't know that word, but to be ease and to be taking things in the right manner. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, verily there will be later on things which are deceptives, things which are mushtabihat, doubtful matters. So فَعَلَيْكُمْ بِالتَّأُدَ, take it easy when you make your decision. فَإِن تَكُونَ تَابِعًا, if you to be a person to follow in good, fil khair, better than to be a person who is the head of evil. What does that mean? That means when there is something which is, you cannot make a decision quickly, something which is having doubtful things, gray areas, don't jump to the conclusion and give your decision. For verily he says that to delay, and maybe somebody else took this decision before you, the right decision, and you are not now the first one who took the right decision, is to be better a person who is behind in deciding something which is correct, rather than to be in the front one to be, but yet is incorrect. It's going to lead you to evil. So if you did something, jump to the decision straight away, more likely going to be wrong. You're going to be rightly wrong, yet you're going to be the head of the wrong. You're going to be the role model for the wrongs because of your being impulsive. But if you took it easy, even though you're going to be, well, everybody took the right decision before you, it's better to be behind, yet upon haqq. Because you know, when you stay behind and take it easy, you will see better. That's why we tell the masajid who are rushing now to open the masjid and they don't know the laws and everything, akhi, take it easy. Don't open, then later on you're going to regret. And the government will close down your masjid because you haven't implemented their laws. So take it easy, akhi. Nobody's in rushing. We're praying our jama'ah and everything. Let's see the other masajid who's going to open. Definitely the Bandis and Brailwis are going to open. What's going to happen? Because you know that some of the Muslims these days, they don't really abide themselves by the law. And they think social distance is nothing, and then there will be chaos. So we have to take it easy. If you delay it 5 days, 10 days after them, no problem. Just see. Take it easy, your decisions. That's why at-ta'uda, especially on those things which are not clear. And I'm using this to, subhanAllah, to our situation at the moment. So we call it in Arabic razana. And I heard this word from my father a lot. Al-insan razin. Razin, you know, is not jumpy. You just take decisions like that. Akhi, take it easy. Not from the first word you start building, you know, your impressions and all of that from the word. Akhi, just take it easy. Maybe it does not mean this word. Take it easy. That's what it is. So when you are not sure in these matters which are doubtful, and you take decisions and you don't really look at the consequences, you're going to end up with making lots of chaos. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. So he says Muhammad ibn Hanafiya, this is said the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu, but he's named by his mother Al-Hanafiya, whom she was a slave and then she was set free. He said he's not wise who does not live in a mu'ashara, good mu'ashara, live in a right way, in the right conduct with a person who you cannot avoid being associated to. Like, for example, your wife. Subhanallah, as soon as these people marry, and because they are youth and immature, you know, they end up, we want a divorce, whether it's the wife or the husband, because they're immature. They're not really like the ones who grown up and reached. But some people have grown up, but they reach as well to another age of immaturity as well. So if somebody's you're gonna be stuck to, like your, you know, your slave, like your neighbor, like your, you know, all of this, like your worker, like your employee, your employer, all of those, you're stuck with them. So be wise, akhi, in the way that you can deal with them, because you're going to be stuck with them for a long time. So don't make hasty decisions. You're going to be what? If it's somebody, you're not going to be stuck for a long time, that's something else, because you're going to be gone. But this one is there. And then he says, حَتَّى يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ لَهُ فَرَجًا أَوْ مَخْرَجًا, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a way or an ease through it. An ease through this calamity. This guy is giving you a headache, but you know, this guy is your employer. This guy, he is your father. This guy, he is your husband, or she is your wife. Okay? And this is actually, it shows you that people are of different moods. You know, each people have got his own mood and attitude. Okay? You cannot expect everybody saying the same attitude. They say, he's got an attitude. Well, I've got an attitude. You've got an attitude. Nobody's got no attitude. But they mean by attitude, that means bad. Attitude. Everybody's got attitude. And that's why we say in Arabic, لَوْلَا الْأَذْوَاقِ لَبَارَتِ الْأَسْوَاقِ. Had it been for the different tastes, different, you know, inclinations, the markets would collapse. The markets, why they're going, you know, because I like green, you like blue, I like this shape and you like that shape. That's why the market is what? Is doing well. Had it been everybody just one green, there would be no competition. Everybody will bring green. So each shop will bring green. There's no blue. But because I like pink and you like green, that's why the other shop will start now competing with you. Okay? Even if your children, you don't want them to be in one tone. You cannot. Because if in one tone and all of them in one this, but you want something else, you can't get it because all of them in one tone, in one. So this basically, he says, this actually, the difference of moods and attitudes and all of this, that makes life goes on. Okay? So you have to be patient. So scholars, they said, the brothers of yours are of 3 levels. Level 1, which is like food, you cannot avoid, you have to have, you cannot be satisfied without them. And 1 level is like a medicine, which you need it sometimes, and 1 which is like a disease, you don't want them at all. So this hadith and this chapter tells us to keep closed eyes sometimes of the shortfallings, of the shortcomings, and also to be good in your companionship. That's wallahi is very important. Otherwise, we have found these days brothers collapse and somebody spits on your face and they're going to shoot him. Is this the right punishment for somebody spits in your face? To shoot him? Subhanallah. Somebody spat at your face, you shoot him? What is this? Is this the right? Spit back. Or maybe punch it. He's even punching is too much. But to go and hold a gun, he spat on me and kill him. So we have to be patient. We have to as well keep a close eye on the shortcomings. And we have to interpret things on the right side all the time. Somebody said to me today that this country, which differs from his own country, that something I'd learned, that everything's paper. Wallahi, when he said to me, he said, it's true. How many posts you get? Whether it's junk or not junk. How many posts? In our country, we don't get that. We hardly get a letter. Wallahi, if we get a letter, where from? Wallahi, I'm just saying to you, the whole year we don't get a letter. We don't have letters. We don't have, like, for example, bills coming to our. No. We have to go. This person comes and he reads the meter and he gives us a piece of paper. And then to get to this paper to go to the company. We don't have letters, arriving letters. Everything is on papers here. Papers. There's no human being. No, it doesn't work like this. We have to have communication. Even phoning sometimes is not good enough. You have to go and communicate. طيب. Alhamdulillah. We're going to finish in about just inshallah the last chapter. من هدى زقاقا أو طريقة. نعم.
Chapter 396. One who guides in an alley or on a path. Hadith 890. Al-Bara bin Azib said, the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever lends something to someone to use or guides down a lane, or he said a path, that is the equivalent for him of freeing a slave.
Right, so this is basically talks about persons giving a gift, hadda from hadiyah, and hadda from hada as well. Whether you guided him a path which is made a path which is the actual path, the route, or you made him a path which is to salvation, because hadiyah al-ma'nawiyah, the spiritual guide and the spiritual help is much more important there, which is the physical one. Okay, right. So this is also talks about the minha. Minha, that means you give a milk. If you've got a camel, you've got a sheep. So you give that camel to the sheep, to the neighbor of yours, that you could use it and take some of its, some of its milk. All right. All of that, it says here, is so rewardable. It's just like freeing a slave. Freeing a slave is not really easy. It's very expensive, and also slaves are not really available these days. But you could have the same reward of freeing a slave if you do such a thing. And here it says zuqaq. And zuqaq, by the way, he said he had guided somebody, قَالْ مَنْ هَدَّ زُقَاقًا. And it meant here, actually, maybe it hasn't been translated properly, because translated literally, is that the zuqaqiyah is that you have guided somebody blind into those alleys. So the zuqaq means alleys here. Who had guided somebody into the alleys. So you guided somebody who is blind or is somebody who's lost his way. Okay, you've guided him. Then this is just like, look at that, bruh, freeing a slave. Somebody who's lost or somebody who's blind, you have made him to go and lead him through the way. MashaAllah. It's like, and also this amazing قال as well منح منيحة. The maniha, he gave a gift of just milk or a camel to be milked, just like you're freeing a slave. Ya salam. طيب. Go ahead.
891. Abu Dhar said, you're putting some of the water from your bucket into your brother's bucket is sadaqah. For commanding good and prohibiting wrong is sadaqah. You're smiling when you meet your brother is sadaqah. You're removing the stones, thorns and bones from people's path is sadaqah. You're guiding a man in a place where there is a fear of getting lost is sadaqah.
Okay, well, the last bit that you have recited is the one linked to the chapter title, which is the guiding the person in a lost land is a sadaqah. This is the one which is hadda zuqaqan. You have left, guided them to zuqaq. The zuqaq is the alleys. Okay, you guided them through. So yeah, it started with that when you give from your bucket to the bucket of your brother, that's sadaqah. And by the way, your brother here is the deen, brother in Islam. That's what it means. But it doesn't mean as well that if you don't really give water to the non-Muslim, you're not going to be having a sadaqah. You will, but it's more rewardable for the brothers. وَأَمْرُكَ, and enjoying good and forbidding evil, as also it is sadaqah. Okay, and also your smile to the face of your brother is sadaqah, and also removal of the harms from the paths of the people, like the stones and the freaking thorns and all of that is also sadaqah. And also guiding a man who is lost is a sadaqah. And wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Let's just go to as well 397 because it's only one hadith. Is that all right?
Inshallah.
Yes, jazakallah.
Chapter 397. One who misleads a blind person. Hadith 892. Ibn Abbas said, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, Allah curses anyone who misleads a blind person from the path.
Okay, the hadith is linked totally, completely to the title. Allah cursed, that means it's from the great sins, who had misled a person who's blind from the path. The path here is the literal path, the real path, is like the road. Okay, but also more important, if you misled a person who is blind, that means not blind actually with his eyes, blind, he doesn't know where the haqq, and you misled him and put him on the spiritual wrong path. So that's included, is more. So if you are being cursed, if you have misled somebody, which is from the literal path, you gave him the wrong path. Instead of showing him that path, you said him that one, which will get him lost. That's cursed. So what about the person who put him on a path that would lead to the hellfire? Even that is greater and is more cursed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. He said, أَخْوَفُ مَا أَخَافُ عَلَيْكُمْ الْأَئِمَّةُ الْمُضِلُّونَ. The most thing that I fear upon you, the misguiding imams, wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Let's give more questions now to the more time for the questions. And I think chapter 399 is the punishment of
398.
398 al-baghi,
yeah,
which is oppression, underneath which 893 is unauthentic. So write that down, please.
Okay.
And by the way, 398 al-baghi, oppression, is equivalent to chapter title 268.
268.
The same thing there is a hadith, but here 399, the punishment of oppression. Yes.
For outrage, it says.
Outrage.
Yes.
Oppression would be better. Al-baghi wa dhulm. Oppression, injustice. طيب.
Sheikh, before we go to the questions, I'm dying to know what this announcement is. So can you do that first, please? Barakallahu feek.
Right. You're scared that's going to be forgotten.
Yes.
Clear, inshallah. Right. Starting from, inshallah, next Sabt. Sabt means Saturday. And every other Saturday, Sabt, I'm off. I'm supposed to be off. I don't really give classes. Only one Sabt. So this Sabt I gave a class. The following Sabt is my family. But starting from there, there will be, inshallah, on here, on this Zoom link, there will be a link with a scholar. And the first scholar that's going to appear on next Sabt is not going to be disclosed until I will make the announcement. But alhamdulillah, you know enough. As will be a scholar, will be 15 minutes, 20 minutes talk with translation. They will be with me as well, my brother Abu Usama, to translate. And I will be running the show. And then there will be scholars to just give 20 minutes of reminder. And then after that, you will give me your questions. So prepare your questions. And I will start with the first scholar, inshallah, which has been arranged already with him. And I haven't really spoken to anyone except for the scholar himself and to my brother Abu Usama al-Dhahabi. طيب. That's the news, and don't ask me for further than that.
Brother Bilal is Zahid is going to just give a quick reminder about the questions, inshallah, before we start.
Zahid thought the news is about getting married or something.
Zahid, fadda.
Yalla Zahid.
I don't think he's here, but he left me a message. So
No.
I'm here.
okay, go ahead, Abu Bilal. Sorry.
Jazakallah khair. Okay. So questions, priority questions is students from Popular. Please put Popular in your name and raise your hands or ask via the chat. Mic questions, preferably for the brothers, although sisters can ask on mic. Please direct any questions to questionsadmin1. If you're a sister, please put sister before your question and you should get priority. Please ask one question only to give everybody a chance to ask question, including chat questions. When prompted to ask a question, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Keep it brief and to the point. When the priority popular questions are finished, admin will ask other students to raise their hands and read other questions from the chat. Jazakallah khair. Ahmed, you can go ahead and start with the chat popular questions, or if you're from Popular, please raise your hand and ask your question.
Jazakumullah khairan. Shaykhi, I think you've actually answered this, but a sister was still asking if the jinn stealing news from the heavens still happens today, or was this only at the time of the Prophet ﷺ when he was getting the revelation?
Like you said, I've answered this question, so why do you ask this question? So what is the answer, Sheikh Ahmed?
Shaykhi, it was before the time of the Prophet ﷺ and after the time of the Prophet ﷺ. This happens, but to protect the Quran at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, it was guarded, the heaven was guarded by missiles.
Well done. Second question.
Sheikh, a sister from Popular is asking, apart from Surah Tawbah, is the Basmala a verse of every surah or only in Fatiha?
The Basmala, is it part of the Fatiha, part of each surah except for the Tawbah, or it's part of the Quran? There's a difference among the scholars. Imam Malik does not consider the Basmala is part of the Fatiha. But the Basmala, they have a consensus that is being written in the Quran to separate the chapters. Is being written there. And except for the chapter of Bara'ah. Because it doesn't really work. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Bara'ah. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. And then we're free from, and it's all of it to do with cursing those who are kuffar. And the companions used to know that this surah had finished, and the surah, new surah, is about to start by the word Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So it is being established in the Mus'haf al-Uthmani. And the Uthmani here is not Mus'haf Uthman, the Ottoman, which has come just about 100 years ago. No. The time of Uthman, Mus'haf al-Uthman, time of Uthman radiallahu anhu. It's been established there, Bismillah ar-Rahman, in the Mus'haf al-Imam. There, it's been there. So it is consensus that it's part of the Mus'haf. As it part of the surah of the Fatiha, part of the Quran, that's the difference among the scholars. And we don't need to know whether it's there. And we recite it, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. If we start the surah from the beginning, always isti'adah first in any recitation regarding the beginning of the surah or the middle of the surah. But you start with isti'adah. And then if it's the beginning of the surah, you start with Basmala except for surah Bara'ah, which is Surah At-Tawbah. And if you start from anywhere apart from the beginning, isti'adha is all the time. Basmala, difference among the scholars. The opinion that we think it is more correct that there is no basmala. The basmala is the beginning of the surah. Why should we say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? And that's what we believe is correct. But we understand that there are some of the recitations of the Qur'ans, the reciters, they say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim even from anywhere from the Qur'an, regardless the beginning or the middle or the end. Now,
Barakallahu feekum. A sister from Poplar wants to know what is a tarji' in the adhan.
Tarji' in the adhan is basically the mu'adhin sometimes before he says Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah and Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, he would say them silently. So after Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, he would say silently like this, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Then he would say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, like the normal adhan, and he would continue. That's called tarji'. Now,
there's a sister from Northampton that asked a question yesterday. She's saying she's sorry, but her question was not actually clear. She was asking about hearing the Prophet ﷺ's name in a prayer. She said her question, she wants to know if she's inside the prayer. That was her question.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought, yeah, Ahmad. You remember? I thought, was she in the prayer? That's why I asked. Maybe she meant that she was in the prayer. Because outside the prayer, you know, the question is obvious. I didn't really see any usage of it. No. So she was inside the prayer. Go ahead.
So she's saying if the name of the Prophet ﷺ is recited in the Quran, does she say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam?
That's how I understood the question at the beginning. I understood the question like this. And I have answered it as well. I said if she is in herself praying and she reading and the Prophet ﷺ is being mentioned, she does not say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Even it's prayer of the night. Now.
Shaykhi, I don't see anyone raising their hands. We had a question last class.
There's Faisal. There's Faisal. Faisal. He's been raising his hand from the first class. But let me just give him the permission to ask.
Faisal, I didn't see you, Allah. Sorry.
All right. He'll get you later. Yalla, Faisal.
Sheikh, assalamu alaikum. First of all, may Allah reward you with the tremendous good for facilitating us having a connection to the scholars. May Allah reward you and write good for you for this.
Jazakallah khair.
So the question is going back to the previous class regarding the janazah prayer. Where do we look in the janazah prayer? Is it at the place of sujood since there is no sujood?
We always use the word ta'ta'a. Ta'ta'a means he put his head down. So in any place where it's not being mentioned something, we use the asl, al-asl. So in the salah you are concentrating and focusing. So al-asl, that is ta'ta'a. It is not like this and looking somewhere else, because you are in a prayer, and this prayer has to have some sort of prestige to it, etiquette. You just can't be done like this, unless these people who have been doing the dancing prayer. A'udhu billah. Put dancing grave prayer in Manchester. These people who are Brailwis, Allahul Musta'an, don't know what they're doing to their religion. They're putting a special dance prayer for a person who is dead in Manchester. That's what it means. You could just you look at the place where it's down, which is your place of sujood. You know, it's down. Now, تفضل يا أبو يوسف أبو إيش؟ Ibrahim with a ha. Is that Ibrahim or Ibrahim you meant? Yeah, Abu Ibrahim Sunnah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Are you Abu Ibrahim or Abu Ibrahim?
So what did oh, sorry, Sheikh. It's meant to be Abu Ibrahim. It's just a typing error.
No, because I know that some of the people, when they're trying to pronounce the ha, they go ah. Okay, then they think it's a ha, but it's not. It's a ha. It's a ha.
It's meant to be Abu Ibrahim. Jazakallah khair for the dars, Sheikh. And Allah increase you and reward you immensely. Just in regards to your announcement with the dars with the alim, is it in 2 weeks' time, Sheikh, from today?
I said
the Q&A with
next Sabt.
Next week. Okay, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair. I just wanted clarity. Thank you.
This Sabt I am on class, and supposed to be next Sabt is my family's class, meaning my family's day. But I said, okay, skip the family day, give it to the scholars.
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh.
Jazak. Yalla ya Abu Yusuf.
Sheikh, what are the authentic ahadith relating to ruqya with regards to reciting Surah Al-Fatiha? How should it be done?
The Fatiha has to be done like Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. He recited it 7 times. And you recite it on top of the person. Either if it's a lady from, away from her, if she's not your mahram. If you're not, you are not her mahram or her husband. On top of the head as well. And you could blow with it. Read Fatiha and blow. And I've seen our Shaykh al-Albani as well taught us that is when we say wala dhalin, that everybody says Ameen. I've learned that as well. So when we have wala dhalin, we say everybody say Ameen because it's a dua. Everybody. Wallahu a'lam. Naam. Let's go to Ya Abu Yusuf. We'll go to somebody now to the panel. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallahu feek, Sheikh. A question from last class. Brother was asking, when do we lower our hands from our chest when giving the taslim? He's talking about the janazah.
When do we lower our hands from the taslim? He's talking about the janazah. I didn't talk about the janazah yesterday.
No, last class, Sheikh.
Oh, you said so yesterday. Maybe I'm wrong.
Sorry,
Okay.
my mistake.
Yeah. So it's last class. So basically, when do we take our hands down? When we finish, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum, we finish. That's how it is. When we finish, we don't do Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So we always keep this until we finish. Nah.
Okay, Sheikh, I've run out of questions from today, but I have panel questions from before.
No, Faisal, Faisal. Yeah, you no problem. Get these questions, Ahmed.
Okay.
Sheikh, thank you again. This is not the question, but this is like a cheating question. Is one of the shuyukh going to be Sheikh Mashur Salman?
I'm not going to disclose anything else.
The question is, real quick, if you don't mind. A brother had asked me, and he hunts, and he had a hunting question.
Huh?
And I have a brother. He's a hunter. He hunts here in Florida, and he has a hunting question. I don't hunt, but he wanted to ask. So his question is, if he hunts and he kills the animal dies in one of the following 2 ways, is this animal halal? Number 1, if he shoots the animal and the animal dies but doesn't bleed, just the bullet kills the animal but the animal does not bleed, that's the first scenario. The second scenario,
the first scenario, if he doesn't want to eat it, give it to me and I'll eat it. Second question?
Okay, so it's halal. The second question is, if his hunting dog bites the animal doesn't bleed and it dies, is that halal for him?
The dog, is he being taught or is not being taught?
Is being taught. Yeah, a hunting dog,
taught,
yes.
Khalas, halal.
So in both cases, it's halal.
There's 2 things that have to be conditioned here. Number 1, saying Bismillah on the dog. And number 2, it has to be, that is, the dog is being taught. If it's not being taught, not halal. It has to be taught. So kalbun muallam and Bismillah. And if there is more than one dog, okay, or more than one animal there, you don't know which one is it. Your dog had killed him or not, you can't eat it.
Correct, Sheikh. So again, if all of those conditions are met and there is no bleeding, but the animal dies, just to confirm to him, he can eat it.
Halal, yes.
Alhamdulillah.
You see what happens sometimes, this canine goes onto it, but you see the hunter, he has to know, but is the dog had killed him, or is it being killed because this animal had knocked something, fell from a cliff? Then it's not halal. It has to be the animal had got him. How did he get him? How did this dog got him? If he just saw the dog bringing the animal and there is nothing there, he can't eat it, because it could be this animal died through dropping from a cliff, died because he knocked a wall, died because of stone he knocked it. Do you understand? If the animal's carrying it, okay, no. It has to be his canine in it. Hunt, it's a hunt. So the blood, maybe not bleeding the animal, but the blood will be on this canine. There.
Yes, that's the question, Sheikh, and he will be very happy. So again, his misunderstanding was the animal has to bleed out like a regular dhabiha.
No, but it has to be blood on that canine of his. And as I said, send me some of his hunt stuff.
Okay, inshallah. I will convey this to him. Barakallahu feekum, Sheikh.
Jazakumullah. طيب ya Ahmed.
Barakallahu fi Sheikh. Question is asking if you
just two questions, please. We're going to have to finish. Jazakallah khair. Tafadhal.
Okay, Sheikh. He says, do you do salam both sides or only on the right side in the janazah prayer?
We have said that the janazah prayer, just like the normal prayer. I don't think this person was with us when he asked this question. How many ways we've said? 4 ways. We explained them just exactly like the normal prayer. But what you have seen in the haram, that is one salutation, and it's only on to the right. This is correct. Hadith Abi Hurairah. But it's not really saying that it's the only way to do it. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. So, Assalamu alaikum. And by the way, when I said Assalamu alaikum, did I do it this way or that way?
Yes, Sheikh. You did.
It this way, huh? Do you know why? Because I'm using a not mirror. There's no mirror. So I'm upside down. I don't know what is my right, what is my left. Now I've just noticed that. Because I was looking at the screen when I was doing it. So the right is like this. Assalamu alaikum. So it's just Assalamu alaikum. Not like this, because I just remembered I did like this, and there's a click there. It says mirror or no mirror. Allah al-Musta'an.
You did it correctly, Sheikh.
Did I?
Yes.
No, Sheikh, you did it. We saw it to your left. You did salam alaikum to your left, which is our right.
But you understood this was my right, yes? You understood I was doing to the right. Because I said, and one salutation to the right. If I did like this, I made it wrong.
Yeah, it looked like that, Sheikh, on our screen. Allahu Alam, that's how it looked for me.
Okay, khair, inshallah. Well, alhamdulillah, that's been cleared.
Alhamdulillah.
There is one on the panel, Noor Muslim. Fadal ya Noor. I'm going to just find the last question from him. Noor ya Noor. Fadal Noor.
Sorry, Sheikh. No, it was just to clarify that you did it to the left rather than to the right. That's all.
That's two against you, yeah. Two people against you, yeah, Zahid. So, well, if I did it to the left, I meant to say to the right. So one salutation to the right. And I said to the right, but maybe I said it to the left because I'm looking at the Allah al-Musta'an. And I should put mirror. I should not put no mirror. So it is to the right. Okay. By the way, not like this. To the right like this. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. To the right. Assalamu alaikum. So I'll mention them again just to finalize. There's 4 ways of making salutation to the prayer and the prayer of the janazah, the same thing. And the ahadith are well clear in that one. First one is the full one. You turn to the right. And I said that thing, I remember I said, turn to the right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Then you turn to the left. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. The one which is normally the Prophet would do in the prayer all the time, most of the time, is Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. You might ask me, which one should I do all the time? Wa barakatuh. But this has been mentioned from the Prophet of Allah's more narrators. It doesn't mean that the Prophet of Allah used to do it all the time. More narrators of this, but this is the complete one, which is wa barakatuh. But you could do this as well. Third one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. To the left. Assalamu alaikum. Fourth one. Slightly to the right. I think this is my right now. Assalamu alaikum. Always remember, turn and then salutate. Don't say like this, these people. Assalamu alaikum. No. You turn, then you say salutation. Turn, then you say salutation. Don't salutate while you're returning. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. By this, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يجعلنا ممن يستمع القول فيتبع أحسنه وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خير.